Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video I am back with another recipe and I'm going to be making a really simple pavlova today. So first thing you want to do is set your oven to 160 degrees Celsius, and if you've got a fan oven that's going to be 140 degrees, and let that preheat. As you can see here, I'm just separating 4 large egg whites from the yolks and just putting the yolks aside. I am actually using them in another recipe that you'll hopefully see soon. I'm going to be using them for some lemon curd. So yeah, I'm just going to put those aside and start whisking up my egg whites. So you want to just get a nice amount of air in them until they sort of look foamy. I would describe a little bit like bubble bath. So here I am measuring out 225 grams of caster sugar, and once my egg whites are fluffy and sort of bubbly, I slowly, tablespoon by tablespoon, I'm going to be adding the sugar into the egg whites. Now you have to do this really slowly, just so you can keep all of the air in your egg whites that you're whisking up. If you add it all at once, the sugar won't dissolve properly into the mixture. You'll end up with quite a grainy pavlova and it won't be as airy and bubbly either. So pavlova is actually one of my favourite ever puddings ever. I used to have it not very often, but when I did have it, I used to eat so much of it. I was obsessed with it as a kid, but I've never actually tried to make it before, and I thought in lockdown it's quite a good thing to make. It doesn't have any flour in it, it just has eggs, sugar, and then some cream and some fruit. So it's, yeah, really easy to make in terms of ingredients. So I'm just adding in the last of the sugar there and letting that all whisk up. So the consistency is very different once it's got the sugar in. It should be sort of glossy. So here you can see I have a sheet of baking paper. Now this worked really well. I'm just using a pasta bowl to draw a circle onto my baking sheet, just as a rough guide of how big I want my pavlova to be, and that just felt around the right size. And then obviously turn it over so that the pencil side isn't the side that you're going to put your pavlova on. So my meringue mixture was just about done there. It was really glossy and really stiff, so yeah, absolutely perfect. I'm just going to knock most of the mixture off of the whisk, leaving a little bit on though so that I can just dab some on the tray, just to be able to stick the paper down with it so it doesn't curl up. Because the pavlova mixture is so light, it will curl up if your baking paper curls up. So yeah, you just want to make sure it's down completely. And then I am going to spoon all of my meringue mixture onto my baking sheet. So what I did is I just added a little bit first and got the base sort of spread out. And you just want to spread it right to the edges so you've got that nice circle. Of course you don't want to work it too much, so you do want to be relatively gentle. So just scraping the last bit from the bowl there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it out so that I have a little crater in the middle. So almost is in the shape of a crown, and it wants to look quite messy when you're doing this, otherwise when it cooks it will just look a bit plain. So if you sort of dig a hole in the middle and evenly press the rest of it around the outside. So as soon as that is all ready to go in the oven, you want to turn your oven down to 150 degrees Celsius or 130 degrees Celsius on a fan oven. And you want to put your pavlova straight in there and leave it in there for about an hour, and it should be firm to touch and beige in colour. As soon as your hour is up, you want to turn the oven completely off and leave your pavlova in it for around 3 hours if you can. So here it's the next day now, so I'm just preparing all of the ingredients. So I am whisking some double cream there, and I'm also chopping up some strawberries that are going to be going on top of my pavlova. So you don't want to whisk up the cream too much because it will become really thick, especially if you're using double cream. So you want to keep it quite nice and light and not too dense. So here you can see me taking the pavlova off the baking sheet that it had been on. It worked really, really well. I'm really happy with the consistency of it and all of that sort of stuff. I decided that I was going to assemble this where we were going. I didn't want to assemble it first because I thought the pavlova might get a little bit soggy, so I left all of the separate compartments of it in the fridge. So Pavlova is definitely best kept in the fridge, otherwise the sugar starts to crystallise. So that is my double cream and my strawberries and my Pavlova all ready to go. So here is the final touches. I'm just going to assemble it all together. So in that sort of crater we made in the centre, I'm going to put all the double cream that I've whipped up. So I used 300 millilitres of double cream in the end, and that perfectly filled the Pavlova. And I also used a punnet of strawberries and a punnet of raspberries as well. Definitely easier to just sort of grab handfuls and chuck them on. You can also cook the fruit first with a little bit of sugar in a pan for about 10 minutes and then pour it on top. But it was quite a hot day today, thought it would be really nice if the fruit was nice and cold. And yeah, so that is my Pavlova completely done. I was really happy with the result and it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. So definitely one to try, and definitely will be one I'll be making quite a lot in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with another video.